Almost a decade after their first showdown turned the sports world upside down, Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather are back in the headlines together, and this time, the idea on the table is even more outrageous than the first one. We're not talking about another boxing match in Las Vegas. McGregor is now pushing for something far more extreme. Floyd stepping into an octagon on the lawn of the White House as part of a UFC event tied to one of the biggest celebrations in American history. If that sounds like pure fantasy, that's exactly why it has grabbed so much attention. Let's rewind for a second. Back in 2017, McGregor and Mayweather produced one of the most hyped combat events ever. The UFC's biggest star crossed over into boxing to face a 49-0 legend, and for months the build-up dominated every sports conversation. The press tour alone was a circus. Private jets, arenas packed just to hear them talk, endless trash talk traded back and forth. When the fight finally happened, Mayweather did what most boxing experts expected. He absorbed McGregor's early aggression, then walked him down and stopped him in the 10th round. Floyd walked away with a perfect 50-0 record, and McGregor walked away with a massive payday and global crossover fame. Since then, the idea of Mac 2 has never fully gone away, but it always felt like background noise. Floyd went on to do exhibitions, McGregor went back to the UFC, got injured, got into more controversies. The rivalry became more of a reference point than a real possibility. That changed when McGregor decided to light the fuse again. Recently, the Irishman jumped back onto social media and posted an old clip from that 2017 press tour, a reminder of how big the first fight was and how raw their rivalry still feels for fans. But the video was just the setup. In the caption and follow-up comments, McGregor issued a fresh call-out to Mayweather, claiming it was time to honor what he says was a promise made during those original negotiations, that after the boxing match, Floyd would return the favor and agree to fight him under MMA rules. This time, though, Conor wasn't just talking about any octagon in any arena. He named one of the most recognizable pieces of land on the planet as his ideal venue, the lawn of the White House. That's where this whole thing shifts from maybe to this might actually happen. For months now, there has been heavy speculation about a UFC event being planned in conjunction with the White House for 2026. Reports have suggested that the UFC and political organizers are looking at a special card set for June 14, 2026, a date that would line up with Donald Trump's 80th birthday as part of a wider buildup to America's 250th anniversary on July 4, 2026. At first, those rumors sounded like the kind of social media fever dream that pops up every few years. But the noise hasn't died down. Instead, it has gotten more specific, and Conor McGregor himself has poured gasoline on it. While the UFC has long targeted a fight between McGregor and Michael Chandler as his comeback bout, matchup fans have been waiting on for what feels like forever, Conor's recent comments make it clear he has his eye on something even bigger than that. Taking on Chandler would be a huge UFC moment. Taking on Chandler and Mayweather on a card at the White House during America's 250th year, that is the kind of spectacle only McGregor would dare pitch with a straight face. And he has pushed it even further with his trademark bravado. In one of his recent jabs, McGregor half-joked that he could deal with both men in a single night, Chandler and Mayweather, implying that the idea of fighting twice on a historic card doesn't intimidate him. Whether that's serious or just typical Conor hype is up for debate, but it shows where his head is, not just on one blockbuster, but on stacking moments inside the same event. Underneath all of this showmanship, there is a thread that goes back to 2017. McGregor has repeatedly claimed that during the negotiations for the original boxing match, Mayweather verbally agreed to step into an octagon one day as part of a second phase of their rivalry. Floyd, for his part, has never seriously committed to that in public, and to this day he has never competed in mixed martial arts at any level. His style, his age, his physique, all of it is tailored to boxing. That's what makes the idea of an MMA rematch so wild. It flips the script. In boxing, McGregor was the one entering Floyd's realm. In the octagon, everything changes. Smaller gloves, kicks, takedowns, clinch work against the fence, ground fighting. On paper, the risk for Mayweather is enormous, especially now, years removed from his prime. And yet, Conor keeps talking as if the deal is closer than people think. In a recent interview with Sean Hannity, McGregor went all in on the White House angle. Asked about the rumored event, he didn't sound tentative or hypothetical. He called it a done arrangement. His exact phrasing is that it's a done deal, signed, delivered. McGregor will compete in the White House for America's 250th birthday. That's about as direct as it gets from him. Those words push the UFC at the White House concept from pure fantasy into something that at least feels semi-official in the public mind, even if formal announcements from the UFC or government channels haven't fully rolled out yet. If Conor is telling the truth about his own participation and the card really is locked in for that historic summer, then the only real question is how far the organizers are willing to go with the lineup. This is where it starts to get complicated, because Conor's world extends far beyond fight hype right now. For one thing, he's not even eligible to compete today. Conor is currently serving an 18-month ban stemming from an anti-doping violation. That suspension is scheduled to end on March 20th, 2026. The timing here is key. March clearance would put him back in the pool just in time to complete a camp and be ready to fight during the June-July window being discussed for the White House and America's 250th anniversary festivities. That overlap is not lost on anybody paying attention. If you were going to circle a date on the calendar for a McGregor comeback that maximizes drama, significance, and eyeballs, it would look a lot like the summer of 2026. Beyond eligibility, there's also money. McGregor has never been shy about putting a price tag on his services, and this potential event is no exception.
Reports say for this historic White House lawn card, Conor has floated an eye-watering set of demands: a $100 million purse for himself and 100 U.S. golden visas for family members and close associates. Those visas, often tied in everyday conversation to investor or special status immigration paths, would effectively give his inner circle a far more secure long-term foothold in the United States. If accurate, that tells you exactly how McGregor views the stakes here. This isn't just another big payday, it's an opportunity to turn one night into both a generational financial score and a structural move for his wider camp. Whether the UFC or any political partners involved would actually agree to something that aggressive is another matter entirely, but Conor setting the bar that high is no surprise to anyone who has watched his career. And then, hovering over everything, is Floyd Mayweather. What does he do with this? That's the big unknown. On one side of the equation, the risks are obvious. Mayweather is older now, long removed from his 2017 conditioning. He has stayed active in exhibitions, but those have taken place in heavily controlled boxing environments, often against opponents with limited skill or size compared to him. An MMA bout in an octagon is a totally different game. Even if rule modifications were put in place to protect him, something that would almost certainly be discussed behind the scenes, just agreeing to that setting would open the door to a level of danger he has carefully avoided his entire career. His undefeated 50-0 boxing record is his crown jewel. A loss, or even an ugly struggle in an MMA setting, could tarnish the aura he has worked for decades to maintain, especially in the eyes of purists. On the other side, there is the thing that has always driven Floyd outside of legacy: money. A one-off spectacle on the White House lawn tied to America's 250th anniversary against his old rival, with global media focused on every second. The financial upside of that is almost impossible to overstate. Pay-per-view sales, site fees, sponsorship, international rights, all of it would scale beyond a standard UFC pay-per-view. It would be a cultural event as much as a sporting one. Mayweather has never turned down an enormous check easily. The original McGregor fight alone reportedly generated hundreds of millions of dollars for him. Even exhibitions against much lesser-known opponents have commanded huge sums. The idea of a UFC-branded, White House-staged Mayweather vs. McGregor 2, even in a modified format, would test the limit of what he's willing to risk for another monster payday. There are still major unanswered questions. Would this be a pure MMA bout with full rules? A hybrid contest with certain elements removed to protect Floyd's lack of grappling background? An exhibition with no impact on official records? None of that has been spelled out, and until it is, it's hard to know how seriously Mayweather's camp will entertain the proposal.
From the UFC's perspective, the calculus is also tricky. On one hand, Conor McGregor remains their biggest star, even after layoffs, losses, and controversy. Having him headline a card connected to the White House in a historic national anniversary would be marketing gold. Throwing Mayweather into that mix would turn it into something beyond a normal fight card. It would spill into mainstream news, politics, and global culture. On the other hand, the organization has its own brand to protect, and there will be people inside the sport who will question whether staging a carnival-style rematch on such a symbolic lawn is the right image for mixed martial arts. Add in the fact that McGregor is coming off an anti-doping ban, and you have another layer of potential criticism lined up. And then comes the political element. Having the UFC, McGregor, and possibly Mayweather involved in an event directly tied to the White House, to Donald Trump's 80th birthday, and to July 4th celebrations will be seen by some as a celebration and by others as a provocation. Combat sports don't exist in a vacuum anymore. Every move is going to be read through a political lens as well. For McGregor, though, this is exactly the sort of stage he has always chased. If he can walk out on the lawn of the most famous house in America, fresh off the end of a doping suspension, in front of millions of viewers, and either beat a top UFC contender like Michael Chandler or secure some sort of revenge against Floyd Mayweather, or both, it would redefine the last chapter of his career. For Mayweather, agreeing to any part of that would mean choosing between absolute legacy safety and the temptation of one last unbelievable payday. Right now, all we know for sure is this: the idea has been thrown very publicly on the table by McGregor. He says his role in a White House UFC event for America's 250th birthday is signed, delivered. The timeline lines up with the end of his ban. The price tag he wants is sky high. The potential opponent he has called out is the same man who helped deliver him his biggest payday 9 years ago. The ball, in many ways, is now in Floyd Mayweather's court. Does he stay retired in the relative safety of low-risk exhibitions and preserve his perfect record untouched by the chaos of the octagon? Or does he lean into the spectacle one more time, accept the risk, and step back into the center of the global spotlights alongside the most notorious name in the UFC? With 2026 getting closer and America's 250th anniversary already being planned on multiple fronts, we're going to find out sooner rather than later whether McGregor vs. Mayweather 2 on the White House lawn stays an outlandish pitch or becomes the most talked about combat sports event of the next decade.